And greetings to you, music lovers, thrill seekers, and conversationalists, everybody. All across the fruited plain, El Rush Bowl back here at the EIB Southern Command a day later than planned. But nevertheless here. And I want to thank Mark Stein for being able and agreeing to do the program yesterday on short notice. It was a tough day Sunday, and I kept holding out hope that it would pass. It's one of these 24-hour intestinal things. And it eventuated that late Sunday night I couldn't get in here, and Mark was able to do it, so I sincerely appreciate that. I was still able, ladies and gentlemen, I figured I was sick, why not watch Obama? What more damage could be done? So I watched that silly Rose Garden thing yesterday. I said the Limbaugh theorem was right there. And even the Politico, in a random act of journalism, gets close to calling Obama on it. They've got a headline on their story here, Barack Obama's passive voice. As it's almost a random act of journalism. But I mean, this was classic. There's Obama standing there in the Rose Garden. And he's got what people? He's got 13 people behind him. There's only 3 signups of the props. Only 3 signups. Now, I have a question. And I'll bet you that many of you are asking the same thing. Where's the Republican Party yesterday and today? No. Seriously, forget Tea Party establishment stuff. Where is pushback from the Republican Party? Here you have, look, I know it's a rhetorical question, but I'm gonna mention it anyway. You've got the President of the United States. His signature piece of legislation is a bomb. It is an abject failure. He has to sound like he's selling, what's that guy, the infomercial guy, Ron Popeil and the Ginsu knife? It's like Obama's out selling bamboo steamers yesterday. And it would seem to me that the Republicans could easily call a press conference or some kind of an appearance and bring out a bunch of people who tried to sign up, haven't been able to sign up, get them to tell their stories. And then in the same thing, let it be known that the Republican Party is looking out for you, people of the country, and so forth. I mean, in the old days, this might have been done. I don't know how old the days would have to be for the Republican Party to have done something like that. But clearly, the establishment of the Republican Party doesn't want to do anything to incur the wrath of the media. Now, it could also be, see what you think of this, it could also be, and we know the active theory, the Republican consultant class is that Obamacare is going to go ahead and implode, so just stand aside and let it. Don't get in the way when your opponent is making a fool of himself or when your opponent's committing suicide, political suicide. Just get out of the way and let it happen. But in this case, a little nudge. The fact that it isn't being done, the fact that there aren't ads on TV, does raise questions to me that are not new. It just sort of illustrates the point where we are. You know what the Republican Party could do? I mean, if you want to talk about unity, Republican Party could have some Republicans up there and some conservatives up there, and Tea Party people, establishment people, all unified in an appearance designed to let people know that they would do anything they can to help them and to see to it that this thing doesn't go any further and get embedded into our culture as an absolute disaster. Marco Rubio has says he's going to introduce a bill to delay the individual mandate until healthcare.gov is up and running normally and for 6 months. Now, it'll never be signed into law, obviously, but Marco Rubio is attempting to make a statement and use the legislative effort here as an illustration of the absolute mess that this thing, I mean, even the drive-by media, my Obamacare stack today is littered with drive-by media criticism. I mean, they're really worried about this. They're really worried about Obama for this. And most of them are really surprised. Most of them really thought that this was going to be better than anything. Most of them are shocked. Most of them can't believe it's this bad. That's how much faith they've got in Obama. That's how much faith they've got in government. Jay Carney yesterday said Obama is frustrated with the rollout. Yep, right in line with the Limbaugh theorem. Obama himself said that he's very, very distressed about this. Nobody madder than me about the fact the website isn't working as well as it should. It's his website. It's his stupid health care plan. It is his signature health care plan. It's called OBAMACARE. Nobody madder than he is. You know, folks, I do not watch. I haven't watched a network nightly news show in years. I kid you not. I haven't done so in years. And I found out over the weekend why. Last night, I found out why. Or I reacquainted myself with why. For some reason, what would it have been? When I turned on the tube last, it came on to the NBC affiliate here, Channel 5. So I must have been watching football on Sunday. That's what it was. And I must have gave up on the day. And about even before halftime, I said, I got to go to bed. The Broncos and Colts game. I didn't make it halftime. So I turned off TV, turned it on. And right at the beginning, Brian Williams introducing F. Chuck Todd on the White House lawn with an update and a story on what had happened with Obama in the press conference. I'll watch this. And here's Brian. And now we take you to our man on the scene, Chuck Todd, White House correspondent, NBC News political director, and a couple of other resume points. So, Chuck, what's going on there at the White House? Of course, it's dark. Chuck's on the White House lawn, some lights there. And, well, Brian, there's some problems up here. And I have to, well, Brian in his intro had said, now, Chuck, we got to admit, if something this bad had happened in the private sector, either the CEO would go or the company would fold and be out of business. I mean, this really wouldn't be tough. And so, Chuck, what's the scoop with it? And Chuck said, well, Brian, everybody up here knows that they've got a problem, and they're working hard on it. And the Kathleen Sebelius job is safe. Don't worry about this. Well, who's worried about Kathleen Sebelius' job? But I felt reassured. I was deathly afraid that Kathleen Sebelius is going to be canned, and I was comforted to know that Chuck Todd told everybody that she was safe, her job's safe. And he went on to describe how the White House is working very hard. They know they don't have much time to get this right, Brian. They know they don't have much time. They're going to be putting in the midnight oil. They're going to be working hard on this. They figure they've got about 3 weeks, Brian. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this. And this is not verbatim by any means. But Chuck Todd knows exactly what he's not saying and what he is. He knows what he's reporting is a bunch of, it's just nothing but line crap. Line. Just here's the latest line of the day. This is the narrative. This is the template, and this is what's going to be reported. White House knows they've got a problem. They're working hard on it. The president's told wants 150% effort from the IT team. What the hell is that? Who talks that way? Hey, you give me 150% effort. That IT team, you get them in here on 150% effort. That's what I want on this. Well, who talks this way in the real world? Anyway, my whole point was that it was just propaganda. It was just a report designed to carry forth the notion that Obama's a bystander. And he found out it wasn't going well, and he's really mad. But Kathleen Sebelius is safe. Don't have any fears about that. She's cool. Everybody's safe, but everybody knows that they've got... Do you know this company, this IT company that they hired? I have it. This is from Joel Pollack. I think this is Breitbart. Obamacare tech firm tried and failed to build a gun registry in Canada. You think this might be why they got hired? CGI, the Canadian company whose U.S. subsidiary built the failed Obamacare website, was once contracted to build a federal gun registry for the Canadian government. Breitbart News has learned CGI's contract was canceled in 2007 after a report by the Auditor General found the Canadian firearms information system being built by CGI significantly over budget and that it had been plagued by delays. The failed gun registry was only one of CGI's many Canadian failures, which included canceled contracts to build healthcare databases in the provinces of Ontario and New Brunswick. Despite CGI's checkered record, the regime, Obama, awarded the U.S. subsidiary, CGI Federal, the $93.7 million contract to build healthcare.gov, part of the $678 million in healthcare services contracts awarded to the company. For crying out loud, not only did they waste a bunch of money, they hired a firm which had a track record of failure. This is exactly what happens. As long as you are trying to do something to advance and further the agenda, and you're right in line with the cause, doesn't matter how much you fail, you're going to get promoted. So here's a group tried to put together a gun registry in Canada. Oh yeah, we love those kinds of people. Oh yeah. Gun registry, that's the kind of people we need. And while we're working on health care, they can in a stealth way be establishing one of those here maybe. Just ruminating here. Don't know anything about that, but still, not one success on the resume, nothing but failure after failure. And then Obama says he's going to call Verizon and ask them to help fix this. The reason you wouldn't call a successful company in the first place is because there's nobody better than government. That's why you wouldn't. This is what's ironic about this. Every one of these drive-by stories I've got, they're really worried. You ought to read Ron Fournier's piece today at National Journal. I mean, he's a big Obama guy. He's scared to death that this thing is an absolute disaster, and he can't believe it. These people all think Obama is Harvard, he's Harvard Law, he's whatever their silly resume is. His qualifications are just far and above, way better than anybody else's. No real-world experience. Doesn't matter. He's just so smart. He knows how to do these things, and we love government, and government does this better than anybody, except they don't. And so when that's illustrated, oh, no, they're really let down. You can see it. I'll share this with you as the program unfolds today. USA Today, Health and Human Services brings in Verizon to help healthcare.gov. The international telecommunications company Verizon has been tasked with helping the government fix the Federal Health Exchange, which, at first blush here, folks, that's very peculiar, because we all thought the government could do anything, and especially better than the private sector. Of course, there's less private sector now, thanks to the overreach of the Obama administration. This article acts, by the way, this USA Today piece, it acts as if Verizon, writes as if Verizon is not a government contractor, even though they later quote somebody who says it is a government contractor. And one of the experts that they quote only gives Verizon a 50-50 chance of fixing the problems, which is still better odds than one would give the government for fixing it. So here's Verizon, You could have called anybody. You could have called Jeff Bezos. You could have called people at Apple or people that run websites. All you call them left and right. Get this thing fixed if you wanted to. No, nothing is Verizon. I'm just saying this is what a come down to have to call the private sector to fix your healthcare website. Gee, for $98 million, I would have set up the website. I would have set it up for $50 million. And it would work, and I'd have it up running a lot sooner than these clowns did. Of course, if I'd set it up, it would have backfired on them without them knowing it. But nevertheless, that's just I know 3 years. 3 years, and Obama's been a bystander. He only now learned of the trouble, only last week. And then he had to blame it. He blamed it on the shutdown, and he blamed it on the Republicans. And meanwhile, in low informationville, the big news today is that Kanye West proposed to Kim Kardashian. Did you know that? That's a bit that last bit, yeah, and CeeLo Green gave some babe ecstasy. Of course, in his case, it might have been this. I don't know.